callbacks and contact that I'm getting from directors, and people are, always complimenting me, and it seems like I'm on the right track. So we haven't really had that moment of like, what the fuck are you doing? Because there's so much positive feedback and there's so many things in the works. Like, even if I'm not shooting something big that week, there'll be something coming out or airing that I did a while ago. And that's what I'll put my thrust in, promoting that. So there's always activity. It never really seems like, what the hell am I doing? This is dead in the water, because I'm so dedicated to it. My level of activity is so high that I don't get frustrated if things are not popping off at that particular moment. So he's really in it for the long haul in that regard. And I'm very lucky, because a lot of significant others, they may not be on board. And
how are you?
Ride or die.
How are you guys with each other? Like, when in your personal life, in your relationship, do you guys like cuddle on the couch and watch TV together? Do you guys, like, when you're about to go out, do you ever say how good looking he looks, or how hot he is? How is stuff like that?
Oh yeah. Well, anyone with eyes that work would say that, because he is a hot tamale, and there's really no one like him.
Really? Tell me how you guys met. How did this whole thing happen? Like, did you meet online? Did you guys meet in the city? How did that all happen?
We do a lot of interviews and stuff as a couple, and I like to say that we met at the farmer's market, and, I was fondling this cucumber, and he said, well, you have good taste. But the truth is, it was an online thing, and that's why I'm all for that. Some people are saying that is destroying people's social skills and isolating people and whatnot. I think there's nothing wrong with it, as long as you follow through in the real world. It's a fantastic way to meet people, and a jumping off point, see what you got in common, and if you want to meet. And once we did, it clicked. I mean, it's a unique relationship. We're two very different people, but we share some kind of core values and the way that we live our life.
Are you guys going to get married?
I think so.
You want to get married. Now, are you – well, how does that work? I'm straight, so I don't really the typical thing for a straight couple is the guy asks the girl, goes on one knee and proposes. How does that work in the situation that you're in? Are you the guy that's going to do that, or do you think that he's the guy that is going to do that?
Well,
or is it like, whoever does it first?
In the gay world, we get down on both knees when we propose.
Really?
Is
that true?
No, I don't know. And we present the cock ring, and no, it is just like a straight couple. I mean, I think that.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying? Who's the guy? Like, is it just a race to see who does it first? And and here's the thing too: is who buys the ring? Is it, like, are you the one who's going to have to go out and buy the ring and spend the money on the ring and have to prepare this whole thing? Or is it him? How does that work out?
That is a good question. And when people ask us kind of like who's the man or who's the woman, it's kind of like asking a pair of chopsticks who's the fork and who's the spoon. Because it doesn't, I don't know if it necessarily translates like that. It's more like we are both each. It's hard to say. I would probably be the one that makes the gesture, because I have a more aggressive personality, and I think that it's hard to tangibly say why, but I feel like it would kind of be on me.
So you think that in order for you guys to get married, you're the one who's going to have to make be the one who has to propose?
I would see it that way. Can't tell you exactly why, but it feels like that would be the scenario. And I've thought it over in my head before, how it would go and everything. And it's even a discussion that we've had, and it's just more about being in a certain place in our lives where we feel that we are fully who we want to be.
Yeah.
Before we would want to really do that, but we live together and we share our lives together. So it's basically like a marriage.
I want to get into your career here. I'm looking at your resume right now, right? And you have some roles that you played. You were in Comedy Central. You were on Comedy Central. You were on Impractical Jokers. Tell me about some of these roles. What was your favorite role?
Yeah, thanks for pointing those out. I have had so much fun doing this. I can't reiterate enough. It's the funnest job in the world. Every day I'm doing something different. I'm going to a different place. I'm with a different group of people. And I'm getting these incredible experiences. Like you mentioned on Comedy Central, I appeared on The Daily Show. This is when Jon Stewart was still the host a couple of years ago. That was such an amazing day. I was extremely stoned.
Wait, you go to these things stoned?
Well, in this case, it was called for. And I'll explain, because it was a segment, and y'all can Google it. It's called The Highest Office. And they assembled a panel of stoners to give their opinions about Obama revealing that he was a stoner in college with the Chun Gang.
Okay.
It was around the time that hit. And I answered a Craigslist post calling for stoners for a national TV show. And lo and behold, I got a call from a producer at The Daily Show. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
And he said, we're at this so-and-so studio on this date. Come, bring whatever you want to smoke. We want you guys to be high. I said, sounds good to me, brother. I'm right there with you. And we went in. It was kind of a surprise exactly what would be happening.
Now, you brought your own weed with you?
Yeah, I figured it was not going to be a sting operation. Once I checked out the credentials of the person I was speaking with, and there were emails exchanged and everything, I'm like, all right. Because at first I thought this is some fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
But it was totally real. And we were in that particular state of mind, and then we got interviewed by the great Wyatt Cenac, who... It was intimidating for me, because this is somebody that I admire, and I watch the show every day, and all of a sudden I'm on it, and I'm fucking high. So it was...
Oh, yeah, I could see the anxiety going through the roof.
It was pretty intense, and I was kind of nervous during the first segment, and the director came over and was kind of talking to each of us, and he could sense that, and he said, look, man, just relax, just be yourself. And, don't try to be funny, but if it comes out, do it. And so when we started shooting again, I went in with that mentality, and it was fantastic. And they kept so much of my dialogue, and it was all improv. So I was really proud when it aired that so much of my content was left in there. Even this little song that I was singing kind of became the button for the end of the sketch, and I was like, wow, man, this is incredible. And that was one of my first big national TV gigs, and it's done a lot for me, man. That is the first clip I use on my acting reel. People are always talking about it. I actually got another show off of that called High Kia, where I'm building IKEA furniture tripping on shrooms. And that was this awesome production company from California that found me because of my Daily Show appearance and said, this guy seems cool. He could handle his shit. Let's try him out for this.
Now, did you actually have to use mushrooms at that time?
Yes, sir.
So wait a second. So you're on shrooms and you're shooting like a high Kia commercial.
Yeah. It's kind of like a web series. There's only a couple episodes, and I'm hoping that we'll do more, because I had an amazing experience doing it, and it's become quite a viral sensation.
Why don't you have that on your resume at all?
I don't know if
I'm looking at your resume right now. I don't see that. That's it's odd. Something that you're really talking about here that you don't even have on there.
Maybe the reason it's not on there is just because that is like selected credits, and since I was just playing myself, I try to put more stuff on there where I'm quote unquote acting. And since that was more of a reality show. But that's a good point. Maybe I should add that into the condensed resume.
Do you ever sit there and say, what the fuck am I doing? I'm doing this acting. I'm doing, I don't have representation. I'm doing it now for 3 years. Or are you saying you don't give a shit? You're going to you'll do it you're at 40 years old. Even if you were 40 right now and 7 years later, you're still going to be doing exactly what you're doing.
There's no way that I can ever stop. I can't go back to the quote unquote straight life.
And you mean that, and when you mean that is you mean punching the clock. You can't go to work 9 to 5, come home and do it all over again.
Yeah, to me that's death. For a lot of people, they're perfectly content to do that. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not putting it down. But for me personally, I felt like when I worked my last real job, I felt like I was spending all of my time and energy to make other people money, and I wasn't doing anything creative, and I was kind of languishing there. And I worked for a kind of high-end mom-and-pop catering company. They were so gracious to me, and I will never forget how generous and kind they were when it got to the point where I kept taking days off because I wanted to shoot different things, music videos, commercials, and I kept getting these offers. And they said, look, Keith, we understand that you need, the day off or whatever, but that's kind of it. We need somebody that is here. We love your work, but you're not fucking here. And they said, look, go do what you need to do. This is you. And they handed me this envelope to get me started, and I will always be I will always be in debt to them. Now, I hope to thank them at my Oscar speech someday.
Is there ever a point that you make it known when you're going on an audition? I don't see here on your resume like some skills or anything like that, but you're willing, that you're gay, and you would be willing to kiss another male on screen? Is that something that you use?
I insist upon it, even if the character is straight. No, I say, God damn it, I want this kiss, or I will walk off the set.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of guys won't do that. There's a lot of guys that, they'll see a role, or they won't put that on their resume, like, willing. What I'm trying to say is that something that you could use to your advantage? Absolutely,
because I am kind of known as a guy who does, not that kissing a guy is crazy, but I'm kind of a guy that's known for doing crazy stuff on camera, like the IKEA, like the Daily Show, like this Russian game show where I got my nipple pierced and ate bugs for 3 Gs. I do roles that some guys would shy away from, like I did a French experimental feature film where I'm playing a guy in an S&M scene, getting whipped and making out, and just I'm willing to put myself out there more. I'm not too timid about sex scenes or same-sex stuff on camera, as long as I feel like it's not in poor taste and no one's being exploited.
Yeah.
I started doing...
I'm sorry, go ahead, continue.
Oh, no, man. I started doing, like, nude shoots and art photography and stuff recently because...
You've taken nude shots?
Oh, hell yeah, brother.
What are you talking about? What do you mean you've been doing nude shots? Tell me all about it.
It started with a project called the Naughty Jewish Boys Calendar, where it was this amazing guy, Duncan, who put it together. He does one every year. And I showed my ass. And then there's a shot where I'm holding a matzah over my junk. It's fun. It's in good taste. It's with the dash.
So you have your ass hanging out. You're showing your ass, and you have a piece of matzah over your ball sack, over your cock and balls.
Nobody ate the matzah afterwards. It was disposed of. But yeah.
Now, do you think when you look in the mirror, do you think that you have a nice ass? That you're able to do that?
Yeah, I think so. They might have photoshopped it a little bit.
Okay.
But and that's the thing. I'm not ashamed of my body, and I'm not. as long as I feel like it's not exploitative, that I am in control and I'm in on it and I'm having fun, I'm totally down.
For $5,000, will you